even. What?
You said you didn't want to crop it, but would you
Yeah.
maybe clone in little bits here and there?
Yeah, I might. It all depends. For me personally, for my personal collection of photographs that I want to preserve for my progeny, I would not do it. But if someone hired me, I would ask them, you want me to fill in the edges? And in some cases, I just do it. So let's do one side here. One way is just simple option click, click, but it's not exactly the same. You know, and you can always come in with the patch tool to really mix it up if you want. So here I'm using the clone stamp tool. Option click, click. And of course, because I didn't clean up these lines, I'm getting those. So let's look at the big picture, before, after. So that's okay. You know, you get some duplication of patterns in here, which kind of looks fake. So you don't want your cloning to have what we call footprinting, where people can tell that you were clone stamping it like this. Like, let's say I wanted to get rid of the statue, right? You know, I'm just sitting here like this. Oops, you know. Right? Or, now you look here, you have two flowers that look the same. A dark rose and a light rose right here. They're exact duplicates. And you have a tree that's the exact duplicate. So in that case, I would mix it up and sample from another one. I don't like to do that. There's some people in the background. Who knows? That could be her dad, you know? Like, who is that? Let's get that guy out of there. You know, yeah, you know, this stuff is what I call high explosives. You got to be careful, okay? You don't want to change it. Recently, someone wanted me to hire them. You know, I can barely, you know, pay myself, but I guess they think I run this big company. So they sent me some samples, and they had restored a picture of, I guess there was a relative of theirs on a German Navy, and there was a swastika flag, you know, behind him, and he showed me how he got rid of the swastika. And I thought, well, I know that's quite a shameful part of history, but the reality is, your uncle was, or whoever this was, he was serving on this ship, you know, and you just deleted that part of history, you know. And I'm personally, no matter how bad it is, how bad it was, even if I hated that person, you know, that was my lousy stepfather or something like that, you know what I mean? You know, or I divorced that chump, you know? I mean, yeah, I've had people tell me, get that woman out of there, or get that man out of there. And I'm just like, okay, all right. But I feel sorry for the people who inherit the picture, because that man is gone now. In the back, we had a question over here, sir. Standing up, did you? Oh, yes.
Yeah, the new CS, they have that really neat tool that's kind of more developed. If you can take out a telephone line that was there, literally release.
Yep.
How would that apply itself to a scratch in a photo?
I got to be honest with you. I haven't used that tool in that manner, and I really haven't had to use it except to play with it, to try to understand it, to learn it, because of the kind of work that I've been doing and getting. And I work so fast sometimes that I just rebuild stuff quickly on my own. But it's called, what's it called again? Content-aware fill. Content-aware fill. Or that's his last name. I think it's Phil Content-aware. But yeah, that is no joke. There's content-aware fill, there's puppet warp. These are excellent, excellent tools. But if you learn the basics for manipulation on your own, those will just augment what you know. It's you know, in the martial arts, they say first you learn how to use your fists and your arms and your legs, then you learn how to use a sword or a weapon, because the weapon's an extension of your body. So in Photoshop, you really want to learn the basics and master the basics of manipulation and selections, image size. Then when you use those other things, they're real nice, you know. For example, healing brush. And let's use the healing brush up here to get rid of this and watch what happens. Right? You see that big fade? It looks like, what the heck? Big smudge. Now if I use the clone stamp, which is the old tool, you see how much better it looks? So see, this is where healing, if you don't know, if you don't understand how they work, this is where you can get tripped up. You'll say, man, I keep using this healing brush and it just looks smudged up and white, and you know, you just be upset all day, you know? So you got to know when to use these fancy tools and when not to use them. And I am on what I call a me and Photoshop CS5 are going through a separation right now. I think we're going to get back together soon. I've been having lots of problems, and you know, the way I work, I can't waste a lot of time trying to fix stuff. So I have to keep using the old thing until I can figure out. So you might catch, you know, if you join my email list, you'll get updates, but I do a weekly show, a live show every Saturday morning. And if you've had a chance to watch any of the on-demand videos, you might hear me ranting on CS5. In fact, I did one show with CS5 and it crashed the whole show. So it was because CS5 was locking up and having problems. But I think this was pretty much a Mac problem, not a PC problem. So, so if you have a PC, you should be okay. But for Mac, it just takes time. There's workarounds, there's solutions, but I'm so busy. Anyways, any other questions? Come on. You got me here. I'm like the doctor, you know. You got to tell me your problems with pictures, and I can fix them.
Do you look at aperture at all?
Aperture. Oh.
I hate Photoshop.
You hate Photoshop. But you work with aperture.
I work with aperture.
Wow. No. I'm sorry, but I do work with a competitor called Lightroom. So Lightroom is really nice when you bring in your images, just like aperture. So you can do a lot with Lightroom and aperture that you really could you can almost bypass Photoshop in some cases.
One of the things I like about, I think the thing I like most about aperture, aside from the fact that it's very user-friendly, is that when you touch a photo, it never touches your original.
Yeah.
It always copies it over, so you don't have to remove it.
Yeah, aperture and Lightroom are strictly raw editing interfaces. You don't have to worry about your original being changed in the least. In fact, you might have to worry about having too many copies, exporting them to all these different places, but hey, you know, as long as you have the only problem with with Lightroom and aperture is that, you know, when you do remove the originals, sometimes the library can get a little confused and it'll tell you, oh, where's the original? But if you point it to the right place, it'll fix itself and all your edits will be fine. I will warn you that with Lightroom and aperture, that let's say you export, let's say you have your raw file in one spot on your hard drive, and you tell Lightroom or aperture, okay, this is it, and let's do my changes, and you do all your edits, everything with the color and the tone and the contrast.